More of the Zach Gelb Show on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
All right, welcome back in to the Princeton Orthopedic Associate Studios. Little Migos brings us back from the break because we have to play some Migos for the big Migos super fan and the sensational dancer. And that, of course, is the second-year head coach of Rutgers and Chris Ash. So let's head out to his facility right now as we welcome in Chris Ash, whose team gets ready to open up the 2017 season. And they'll do so at High Point Solution Stadium coming up on Friday night. And you can listen to the game as well right here on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey up against Washington with pregame coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Coach Ash, appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for the time. And how are you?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, thank you so much. So how about that Migos experience? We saw you dancing on stage. How'd that come about?
It was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
I think your wife is the good judge for that. I'm not going to judge you on your dancing skills.
Yeah, well, then it was all good. She enjoyed it. So, but no, it was a great experience. A good break in the middle of training camp for our guys, and really once in a lifetime experience to be able to have that type of an event. So it was fun.
What does a type of experience do for your guys? Because you get up on stage, you dance, you have some fun, the players get a kick out of it. Does it bring the team a little bit closer?
Yeah, I mean, we work these guys extremely hard. We've got very high standards and expectations, and pride ourselves in our work ethic that we have here in our program. But we also understand that we need to have some fun and enjoy ourselves, enjoy each other. And that's really what an event like that's all about. It's to celebrate the hard work that we put in, show them how much we appreciate them. And going through events like that, you go through hard times together. It brings you closer together. You get to celebrate and have fun. And good events like that, it brings you together. And it's just great for our team. Good morale builder and boost in the middle of training camp.
When you're driving out to the facility and you're in your car, what type of music are you listening to other than Migos?
Well, I can tell you this. I don't think Migos has been on my playlist in my car. I'm usually a podcast type of guy, listening to podcasts more so than anything else.
Talking to Chris Ash right now on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. Coach, how is this program different from a year ago?
Well, it's different in a lot of ways. It'd take me a while to go through all of them, but I think the number one thing is we know our players better. We know what our strengths and weaknesses are coming out of last season. I think our chemistry is better. Our commitment and investment to being the best football player, best unit, best team that we can be is much improved. In those areas, I think we have a completely different team with new players on our team, whether it be transfers, whether it be freshmen that we recruited. And then just I consider the players that are returning players to be new players too, because they look different. They're bigger, they're stronger, they understand things more, and we got new coaches also. So I think we are a completely different football team from last year in a lot of ways, and hopefully that translates to more success on the field. But I feel really good about where we're at right now today.
When you look at the results last year, obviously no one wanted them to be that lopsided, how some of those games were. But as a coach, how did you not lose your mind about those results and also keep your kids' spirits up and a positive morale?
Well, if everybody just focuses on the results, then, yeah, it's tough not to lose your mind and lose morale. I mean, I didn't come here expecting to win 10 games overnight. There were issues here, and I'm not going to hide behind that. We had to get them fixed. You can't wave a wand and just fix everything overnight. What we did is we brought a plan, we brought a system, and we brought our faith and belief in what we're doing, and knew that was going to take time. We knew there were going to be good times and there were going to be bad times. The bad times were bad last year. They were low, but we're focused on our process and how we do business, and that's what we focus on and not necessarily the results.
And that process that your kids are focused on, how do they respond to the offseason? How was the offseason program?
Great offseason. We got through last season. Our last game, we played Maryland on a Saturday. The next Monday, we were in the weight room starting our offseason program. We had a team meeting. We went through the goods and bads from the season, the lessons that we learned, how we have to move forward, what we're going to do to correct the things that didn't go well. And that's what we did. And the offseason was very productive. Still, we got to have some things go right for us. We got to stay healthy. We don't have depth in certain positions like we want or need as we move forward. But, that's part of football. But our players responded exceptionally well, and really like where we're at and how they've handled their business here as we head into game one.
For this upcoming season, how do you define this season as a success? What does this team need to do for you to walk away thinking it was a successful one?
Well, I mean, I look at it as, are we playing the best that we can possibly play? You know, are we doing the things that good teams do? And they're not talent-based. You know, I'm looking at the mental errors. Do we beat ourselves with mental errors? Do we beat ourselves with turning the football over? Do we play with good fundamentals and good effort? Do we have foolish penalties? You know, if we have those things, then it's not a success. If we don't have those things and we're playing, you know, to the best of our ability, then we've improved, because all those things were an issue last year. You know, Rutgers beat Rutgers in several games. Some games we were just flat out, talented and annihilated when you combine, you know, a number of things together. But that's what I'm looking for. Do we improve in those areas that don't require any talent, and we play the best that we can play?
From a recruiting perspective, what do you say to a kid that saw some of those lopsided results from last year?
Well, we don't talk about them. It is what it is.
Okay, fair enough. Talking to Chris Ash right now on the Zach Gelb Show. Let's get to some of these kids that are working towards a lot of success here in 2017. The quarterback position is one that has a lot of high hopes when you talk to the Rutgers fan base. You have a kid that comes in, a transfer from Louisville by the name of Kyle Bolin. And there's one thing, Coach, as you know, for a kid to come in, a transfer, and earn a starting role. And then there's another thing for him to gain the respect, and he's a captain. How did he gain that respect from his peers?
Number one is just his work ethic. He came in, he didn't have an ego, didn't have an attitude. He's like, I'm here to help. I'm here to make a difference. I'm going to work really hard to earn my position on this football team, and that's what he did. He is a great leader. He's got great leadership skills. He is very intelligent. He's a high-charactered individual. But he earned the respect of everybody in this program with his work ethic, and that started right away from day one, and it's been impressive to watch.
From a skill set, what type of quarterback is he?
He's got a combination of different skills. He's obviously a good passer. He can throw the majority of all the throws. He does have some decent feet and enough speed to be a running threat. You wouldn't call him a dual threat quarterback, but he can make some people miss and make some positive yards with his feet as well. He's a guy that understands the offense. That's probably the number one skill set that he has, is he understands his job and everybody else's job, and can get guys lined up and tell them what they need to do. And then when the ball snapped, he can make some plays with his arm, and that's the best way to describe him.
We know you've seen a lot of scenarios in your long coaching career, but now it's a little bit different because you're a head coach. But looking back on some of those previous experiences, when you were at Wisconsin, we all know the transfer that happened with Russell Wilson. How about that past experience, and does it play a factor maybe on this one?
Well, I've been a part of a couple, grad transfer type of quarterback situations in the past, ones that went really well, ones that did not go so well. And there's a difference between the individuals that in the situation allows it to work or not work. And, for me, and I go back to my experience, I just educated Kyle on what I saw Russell Wilson do. Russell Wilson came in to Wisconsin in June, just like Kyle did here to Rutgers. Russell Wilson became a captain, just like Kyle did. And it was because of his work ethic. He was a tremendous worker. He was an outstanding leader. He was a high-charactered individual, very football smart, had great football IQ, and he just worked so hard every single day, and he earned the respect of everybody else. And I'm not trying to compare Kyle to Russell by any means, because Russell's one of the best in the business. But Kyle approached his job just like that, and we had long conversations about that. And Kyle has dreams and goals of hopefully being able to have an opportunity to go to the next level. He understands what he's doing right now will make or break that dream or goal from happening.
How important is it to have a leader on your team that has that extra chip on its shoulder, like the one that Kyle has and what he's trying to prove?
It's very important, especially when you're trying to turn around a program, because you want your best players to be your best leaders. You want your best players to be your best grinders, where they work the most. And Kyle is that right now. He's going to be our starting quarterback. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to be our best player yet, but he's our starting quarterback. He's probably our best leader. He's also one of our hardest workers. And that's very important, because that attitude, that drive, that commitment that he has, that trickles down through the program. Younger players coming into the program see a guy work like that, and they just say, well, this is the way it's supposed to be done. And that changes the culture. It changes habits faster than anything else.
Talking to Chris Ash right now on the Zach Gelb Show. One of those younger players, Jonathan Lewis, a lot of high expectations for him, the quarterback right now. What are your plans for him? Obviously, Bolin's the starter, but what are your plans for Jonathan Lewis?
There's no set plans on using him in this game or that game or how many snaps we would get him in a game. But our plan is to use him throughout the season. And how we use him, certain situations will dictate that. How he continues to progress and learn the offense and, the volume of plays that he can use and execute, the way it continues to grow, will determine how many reps he gets as we go through the season. But, our plan is to use him. How much and when, that's still yet to be decided as we go forward and he continues to progress.
Big picture, and I know it's tough to look past this year, but how high of a ceiling do you think he has here at Rutgers?
Well, I think he's got a chance to be an outstanding player, and it's not necessarily just because of his talent. He's a talented young man. He's got a very strong arm. He can run the ball. But the thing I've been most impressed with Jonathan is his work ethic. He works extremely hard, and I think having Kyle here in the program is the best thing that could have happened to Jonathan because he sees somebody like Kyle work, and he understands that's the way he's got to work to become the best that he can be. And I think it's been a great relationship between those two individuals. But I think he's got a very high ceiling because of his work ethic and his commitment to being a great quarterback. And he's got some great football IQ. He's very well coached coming out of St. Peter's Prep and like where he's at right now.
Moving away from the quarterback position, the rest of this offense under the direction of Jerry Kill, obviously it's big that you get Grant back, but how about this offense this year? What do you think about your offense as you get ready for the first game of the season?
Well, we've got similarities and differences from last year. There's some things we'll do similar, a lot of things that we'll do different, but it all starts up front. We've got to be able to have a good offensive line. We've got to be able to run the ball. We've got to be able to protect the quarterback. We struggled to do both of those things last year. And I know the quarterback took a lot of heat. All the quarterbacks took a lot of heat last year because of their lack of production, but it wasn't all them. We just weren't good enough on the offensive line, and we have to be better up front. We had two first-year starting offensive tackles in Kamal Seymour and Tariq Colt. They're another year developed, and they're a lot better right now than they were a year ago. So they're the two anchors of the offensive line, and then our quarterback position has to play better. We've got to get more production out of it, which I think we will. And, we're going to do a lot of the same things in terms of trying to run the ball, play action, and, do some things like that. But it all starts up front, and that's going to make or break our season.
Last year, when I look at your offense, that was a slow starting unit, and then also you had a lot of 3-and-outs. How did you try to approach to change that in the offseason?
No, there's nothing you can, do to change that. We just got to execute better, and execute better. A lot of that comes down to practice reps. How you execute in a game, there's a lot that goes into that. There's a film study, there's practice reps, there's the volume of things that we ask players to do, there's the type of things we ask players to do. So there's a lot that goes into being able to properly execute at any point in the game, whether it's the start of a game, the end of a game, middle of a game. We've changed some things up in terms of when we practice during the season to hopefully give our players a chance to get more rest during the week that we hopefully translates to a faster start because we're more rested for Saturdays. So there's a lot of things that we've done both, with the players, with practice, just to help them execute and hopefully be more rested.
Now, looking at the other side of the ball, the defense, I'll ask you the same question I did about the offense. Your thoughts on the defense heading into the season?
Well, I thought last year we had a unit that could have been a decent defense and played well enough to win some games. But in my honest opinion, the best defense is a product of a good offense, and a good offense is a product of a good defense. They work together to create momentum and field position and, give the other side of the ball a break when needed. And, it's very hard to play really good defense when you're going 7 straight 3-and-outs in a game. And that hurt us as the season wore on. And, hopefully we'll be a lot better on defense because we have a number of players coming back that have played and have started, understand our system. That's where it starts. But the second part of it, we've got to play better defense because our offense helps us and we play better special teams.
From a health perspective, how are you guys entering the season? Kamoko, is he going to play on a Friday night?
Yeah, we anticipate that, but health-wise, we're in good shape.
And then finally, before we let you run, and we wish you the best of luck on this season as we're wrapping up with Chris Ash, Washington, we all know what they're capable of. We saw what they were last year, getting to the college football playoff. A tough start to the season, but with the schedule that you play with, it's always going to be a tough one at Rutgers. With Washington, a West Coast team, I know a lot stands out to you about them. What's the most challenges that they present, though, to your football team for Friday night?
Well, just they're a talented football team. They're an experienced football team. They're a well-coached football team. So we're playing a team that is coming off a Final Four appearance. They've got a lot of players back. They've got some offensively a ton of production coming back. It all starts with just like what we want to do, their offensive line and their quarterback. Quarterback, in my opinion, is one of the best in the nation. He's got tremendous skill players around him. They play very good defense. They're built well up front on a defensive line, and they're solid in the special teams, So they're built like what we want to try to build our football team, And they've got experience, they've got talent, they're well coached, and got a lot of momentum right now in that program. So it absolutely is going to be a challenge, but we're excited for it, and we look at it as an opportunity to go out and do something people don't think we can do.
You have weeks and weeks and weeks to prepare for this opponent, being that it's the first game of the season. Right before the game, when you're an hour, 2 hours before the game and your team's getting ready to take the field, what do you reiterate to your football team on Friday?
Oh, we just talk about our keys to victory, what we need to do to have success. I mean, there's certain things that are situational based on the opponent, but there's some things that are the same week to week. And, we just talk about that. It's about focusing on our effort, focusing on our fundamentals, and focusing on our execution. That's what we constantly talk about to our players. And if we can play really hard, we play with good fundamentals, and we execute our calls the way we need to, as long as we can do that, we'll give ourselves a chance to go out and be competitive and win games. And if we don't do those things, we won't, and scores will get ugly. But that's what we talk to about our players, whether it's Monday, Friday night, Saturday, is just focus on those things that we can control.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to the season, and we hope you have some extra dance moves prepared for after the games and a few more wins this year. So we appreciate the time. Thanks so much, and let's do it again real soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Take care.